The hunger is a hollow god, and its only sacrament is dust. For the 13 members of the river Minas Reed clan, a family of Australopithecus clinging to the edge of a hostile world, it is a faith they have kept for 2 moons. The sun beats down on Kale, the old one, his hairless skin tight over a cage of bone, his eyes, deep set and weary, scan the cracked earth where the river used to be. The children lie listless in the sliver of shade offered by a granite overhang, their bellies swollen not with food, but with emptiness. This is life million years ago, a constant, grinding war against starvation, waged in a land that belongs to giants. This is the brutal reality of hominid history. Then, the world shudders. It is not the familiar tremor of a shifting fault, but a deep, resonant thump that travels through the soles of their feet and into the marrow of their bones. The sound is felt more than heard. A bass note so low it vibrates the air itself. Every head snaps up. The shrieking insects fall silent. Lyra, the clan's sharpest scout, is already on her feet, nostrils flaring as she tastes the wind. There is a new smell beneath the scent of baked mud and dying fern, something thick, coppery, and immense. Something has fallen, something vast. Kale knows that sound. He has heard a lesser version once before. In his youth, it is the sound of a mountain dying. He gives a low grunt, a command that needs no words. Survival has stripped their language to its essential core. To move is to live. To hesitate is to be forgotten. They abandon their miserable camp, a collection of woven grass mats and sharpened sticks that serve as the entirety of their material wealth. Lyra leads, her movements economical and silent as she slips between the giant cycads. The clan follows, a ragged line of desperate early humans moving towards a sound that promised either salvation or oblivion. The air grows heavier with the scent of blood and viscera, a perfume so potent stomachs clench with a mixture of hope and nausea. This is the world of dinosaurs, a world that has no pity for the small. They crest the final ridge, and the sight that greets them stills the breath in their lungs. Below, half submerged in the sluggish, muddy waters of the main river, is a god, an Argentinosaurus. Its lifeblood lies on its side like a toppled range of hills. Its neck, a crane of flesh and bone, is sprawled across the far bank. Its eye, a black, glassy plate larger than a man's torso, stares unseeing at the indifferent sky. The creature's gargantuan body has dammed the river, creating a stagnant pool thick with its lifeblood. It is not a corpse. It is a geological event, a sudden island of protein in a world of famine. For a moment, there is only a primal reverence for the sheer scale of the life that was, a feeling so profound it borders on terror. But the eye is a luxury they cannot afford. Kale's gaze is hard, calculating. He sees not just the meat that could feed them for a year, but the hide that could shelter them, the sinew that could bind their future. More than that, he sees the bones, the colossal ribs, ousing from the spine like the vaults of a cave, and the immense femur, a pillar of calcium thicker than any tree trunk he has ever seen. In that moment of desperate clarity, a new thought ignites the seed of a technology born not of stone, but of the giants themselves. A future of osteodontokeratic power. Nearer, practical and grounded, is already scanning the perimeter. They are not alone. High above, the leathery wings of Pterodopticus circle like patient vultures from the dense jungle across the water. Below, guttural chittering echoes the sound of pack hunters. The fallen guard is a beacon, and its congregation is gathering. There is no time for reverence. The chittering from the jungle sharpens into a series of piercing, bird-like calls that slice through the humid air. They are coming. Cal bellows a single, guttural command. The clan moves with the desperate efficiency of the hunted. 3 of the younger males, armed with fire-hardened spears, form a ragged line between the jungle and the carcass. Their knuckles white on the worn wood. Their bodies are thin, weary frames of muscle against the impossible bulk of the dead god they now claim. Lyra stands with them, her flint tipped spear held low, her eyes, missing nothing, are fixed on the trembling foliage. This is the reality of prehistoric life. A treasure found is merely a battle postponed. This is a critical test of their survival skills. From the shadows, they emerge. The Utahraptors, not the small, skittering creatures of a lesser nightmare, but 6-foot-tall, feathered killing machines. They move with a twitchy, intelligent grace, their heads swiveling, their yellow eyes blinking with cold, reptilian assessment. A terrible 9-inch sickle claw on each foot stays raised, a poised threat, tapping against a stone with a dry, clicking sound that chills the blood. The pack doesn't charge, they spread out, a coordinated crescent of predators that calls a complex language of flanking maneuvers and designated targets. They are testing the clan's resolve, looking for the weakest link. Behind the thin line of defenders, the rest of the clan swarms onto the mountain of flesh. Belan, her face a mask of concentration, begins the monumental task of butchering. She saws at the thick hide with a sharpened piece of flint, her muscles straining. The tool is inadequate. A pebble against a fortress wall. Every inch of progress is a victor repaid for in sweat and aching bone. The children, their fear warring with their gnawing hunger, are tasked with dragging the hard -1 strips of meat and fat further up the colossal flank of the Argentinosaurus, away from the grasping claws of the hunters below. This desperate, frantic activity is a turning point in human evolution, a complex social response to a unique opportunity. The attack comes without warning. One Utahraptor finds to the left, drawing the eye of a young hunter named Territorial. As he shifts his weight, another explodes from the right, a blur of rust minus scarlet feathers and teeth. It ignores the spearman, its eyes locked on the vulnerable workers. Lyra screams a warning, but the creature is too fast. It leaps, tearing the foe's defender's spear, its sickle claw extended to disembowel. In that instant, Tail, who had been climbing the carcass to direct them, does the unthinkable. He grabs a massive, half-severed slab of flesh and fat weighing as much as he does and heaves it over the side. It lands with a wet, heavy slap directly in the raptor's path. The beast, blinded and thrown off balance, stumbles. It is the only opening they will get. Territorial, seeing his mate unfrozen in the raptor's path, breaks formation. It is an act of pure instinct, an altruistic impulse that defies the cold logic of survival. He roars, a sound of pure fury, and charges, driving his spear into the distracted raptor's thigh. The beast shrieks, a high-pitched sound of pain and rage, and turns on him. It kicks out, and its terrible claw rips through Territorial's leg, sending him sprawling. But his sacrifice bought the crucial second. Lyra is there, her own spear ramming deep into the creature's side. The raptor thrashes, knocking her aside, and in its death throes, it rolls onto its back. Its softer underbelly is exposed. The pale skin stretched taut over its belly ribs. Kale points, shouting a single word. There, two spears punch down into the unprotected flesh, silencing the creature for good. The pack halts. They stare at their fallen member, then at the small, bloodied hominids. For now, the cost is too high. With a series of low hisses, they melt back into the jungle. The first siege is won. The victory is paid for in blood and pain. Territorial lies delirious, his leg grotesquely swollen, the wound seeping a poison that Elon tries to draw out with a poultice of crushed leaves and river mud. His sacrifice brought them this mountain of flesh, but his life now hangs by a thread. The dead Utahraptor is a grim trophy, a reminder that the jungle is patient. The pack will return. The clan works under this shadow, a frantic, desperate energy propelling them. The sun beats down, and the air grows thick with the stench of decay. They are in a race against time, rot, and the relentless predators of this ancient earth. Kayla's mind, however, is no longer fixed on the immediate threat. His gaze is on the architecture of the dead god. He sees the colossal ribcage, a great, arched cavern of bone. It is a shelter, A fortress. A ready minus made to him that could become a womb for his clan. He directs them. His commands no longer just about survival, but about foresight. They must move inside, using their flint knives. They sever the last of the immense tendons holding the internal organs, dragging the viscera out and into the river. The current, strong as it is, carries the chum downstream, a deliberate act of Mr. Armageddon for any aquatic predators. Then, piece by bloody piece, they begin to move their lives, their meager tools, their wounded, their future into the cavern of the beast's chest. Inside the ribcage, the world changes. The sun is filtered through a translucent membrane of remaining flesh, casting a surreal, amber light. The sounds of the valley are muffled, replaced by the echo of their own movements. It is a place of both death and security. The earth, protected by walls of bone, the true revolution begins. Dylan, her hands raw and bleeding, abandons her small flint scrapers under careless guidance. She and the others begin the arduous work of harvesting the skeleton itself. They use heavy river stones to smother vertebrae, prying loose sharp, jagged shards of bone that serve as superior knives and choppers. This is the dawn of a new primitive technology, born from the remains of the very giants that dominated their world. This knowledge, passed down through generations, would become a cornerstone of paleontology for a species that has not yet even conceived of itself. Their greatest challenge and greatest prize is the femur. It is a solid pillar of bone, 10 feet long and impossibly dense. No stone can break it. For 2 days they struggle, their efforts seeming futile. It is Lyra who has the breakthrough. She observes how fire causes rock to split when doused with water. With the clan's help, they build a massive bonfire against the center of the bone, feeding it for hours until the femur glows with a dull heat. Then, using hide buckets, they heave water onto it. With a crack that echoes like a thunderclap, a huge fracture splinters the bone. From this single act of applied intelligence, they create their first heavy weapons, massive, like shards of bone, heavy enough to shatter a raptor's skull. They now possess a power they had only dreamed of. They are no longer merely prey. They are becoming something more. A force to be reckoned with among the other prehistoric animals. The distant roar of a Tyrannosaurus rex, a true titan of this world, still sends shivers of primal fear down their spines. But for the first time, it is not a sound of inevitable doom. It is a challenge they might one day meet. The clan survives. They live inside the fallen giant. Its skeleton their home. Its flesh their sustenance. Its bones their arsenal. The Utahraptors probe their defenses. But they are met now with a ferocity born of security and power. The great bone clubs smash down from the fortress of ribs, and the pack learns to fear the small, soft minus-skinned creatures. For this small band of human ancestors, the world has been remade. The death of one colossal creature has given them a generation of security, a technological leap, and something far more precious, a future. This is how it begins, not with a single hero, but with the collective courage of a desperate family, the spark of foresight in the mind of an old male, and the audacity to turn the bones of a dead god into the cradle of a new intelligence. This is a scene that will never be recorded in the annals of ancient history, a silent, pivotal moment in the epic of Homo sapiens. Their struggle is a microcosm of our own ascent. Every technological marvel, every fortress we have ever built, every strategic decision made in a boardroom or on a battlefield, has its ancient echo here, in a bloody ribcage by a muddy river. It is the legacy of those who looked upon the overwhelming power of their world, not with simple fear, but with a question: how can this be used? They were the first engineers, the first quartermasters, the first architects of defiance, carving a niche for humanity not with fang or claw, but with a mind that could see a fortress in a corpse. This is the chronicle of the Bone Miners House, the tale of how our journey truly began. A new scent drifts on the wind from the north, the smell of volcanic ash and something cold.